Hello and welcome to Champagne Channeling. Happy Friday to you. Today's guest has really wowed me on many occasions. I have never met her, and I found her through a program that we were both in by Melanie Ann Lair. You've heard me talk about her many times on the podcast. And what is interesting is I was so drawn to this woman right away, and I decided to sign up for a program with her. And during this program, she had a feature that was called the 7-minute miracle, I believe. And she's going to correct me if I mess that up. And this was right after I launched my podcast. And I couldn't even sit still 30 seconds in because I started to realize I wanted to be productive in those 7 minutes. And I started to ask everyone I could think of to be on my podcast. And she was one of the first people. And I really did not expect a response. And she emailed me back right away and said yes. So I'm floored to have her here. She's a huge inspiration. Her business is Elegant Femme. And her name is Marino. Welcome. I'm so excited you're here.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. And I didn't know that whole story. I don't think this is and you're right. It's called the 7-minute miracle. And it is that energy. When we're in that, it was on Central Creation Day that you're talking about. And we have that 7-minute miracle. And when we're in that energetic vortex together and we ask for what we desire, it's extraordinary. So yeah. I'm so happy that you took that so to heart, that you allowed yourself to move into that energy and that beauty of it. And I'm so happy to be here. As soon as I got your invitation, it was just a full, heartfelt yes.
Oh, I'm thankful to hear that because you and I have a similar vibration. And what's interesting is the platform that we met under was Melanie Ann Lair. And I heard you be mentored by her in one of her calls, and you had just found her in the past year. Is that correct?
Yes.
And
it hasn't even been a year.
Yeah, you have so many similarities. I mean, you're on that frequency. You've been doing this for over a decade. And I got told many times, you remind me of this woman. You remind me of Melanie Ann Lair. So that's, and I am not saying I'm on that, I'm not on that level at all. That's not what I'm saying. But for some reason, the feminine energetics are being downloaded to the collective. And so we're finding each other in these pockets of the world, and it's like sisterhood. It's like I recognized you, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's doing what I'm being called to do.
Yeah, 100%. And it's that recognition that's happening. It's that, I think, real confirmation for all of us that this is the time, this is the place, this is the level of permission that we can gift ourselves, and to fully embody that. I mean, we talk about this all the time inside of Elegant Femme, that sacred yes. Mm-hmm. And it's not an extreme. It's not I'm this or I'm this, which I know you and I are both passionate about. It's the connection. It's the integration. It's the embodiment of the all that we're really speaking from.
And you speak a lot about more.
Yes.
That the feminine always wants more. And it's not that she isn't thankful for the now, thankful in what she achieves, but we're creating more. We create life, more, and more. And I love how you talk about that, because at some point we were shamed for wanting more. The messages are nothing's ever good enough, and we think, oh, I have shame about asking for something. Or, I mean, your whole brand is about luxury and elegance. And that right there, that takes a risk to say, I want to experience the best. I want designer things. So before I get into all the topics I want to talk to you about, I would love to have a toast. You were just in Paris, I know. And so I do have some champagne. Would you join me?
I would love. I have my French rosé.
Oh,
moment. So it's champagne-esque. Same vibe.
So how was Paris, by the way?
It was extraordinary. In fact, I hadn't gone back there with my boys. We lived there for 7 years. You need to.
Yeah. Can you send your husband back in here and help us? Yeah, we got the tech figured out, but I need to help.
We need the masculine to open up the champagne so we can receive. There we go. I love the pop. We lived there for 7 years, and we hadn't been back since the beginning of 2019 because of COVID and the whole thing. So it was a potent trip for us. We brought my son's girlfriend, luxury all the way. We had a apartment with the Eiffel Tower view. It was an iconic trip. It really was. I got to see all my girlfriends. It's my home.
Well, I was living vicariously through you. The photos were beautiful. You were stunning. And I can't wait to be able to take my family there and experience such beauty every day. I mean,
that's it. I know I'm completely biased, but to me, it is the most beautiful city in the world. But beyond that, there's an essence and a vibration. Yes. And I believe at this particular time, there's really a vortex in Paris that's opening up. And I don't know if you've been seeing this, but so many people are flocking to Paris at this particular time. Not that they haven't before, but I would say that women leaders in particular are feeling a draw to anchor into the embodiment of beauty that's there, because we require it. There's an activation that happens when we do gift ourselves permission to experience beauty fully. And to me, what better backdrop?
Oh,
Paris.
Cheers,
So
Sarah. Thank
cheers.
you.
Look at that beautiful color of that champagne.
I know. Oh. Oh my gosh. All right.
We can just pretend we're on a terrace. L'avenue, on Avenue Montaigne. The sun is shining.
And here we are.
Here we are.
So I had just posted something. I was making a module about radical responsibility in a program that I created a while back, and it's called the Spirit-Led Life. And I love how you say soul-led life. There was a couple things I jotted down in the program that you just released. I don't know French. So is it carte blanche?
Carte blanche. Carte blanche. Which really means like blank map. Like if you blank map or blank card, and obviously all of us have heard carte blanche, right? It's like to give yourself full permission.
Yes, I love it. And I love what you're doing with it. And it's actually a free program. So you guys, please, please, please just get a taste of what Tara has to offer, because I'm always talking about feminine energy, and not because the masculine is bad. We love the masculine. They did a good job. Thank you. Thank you. Now we're just awakening the feminine. This isn't about swinging the pendulum way far over here. And Tara just really embodies a healthy, energetic presence of the feminine energy. And I sometimes still stumble upon old fears and just beliefs around that maybe I think I'm too good because I desire more, or I've come, far enough. I've overcome many adversities. I've really grown a lot, but here I am like, but what's next? I want to have a place in Reims. I just have always desired to be in the Champagne region of France. I went there once and it felt familiar, and we won't get into past lives, but there is a reason why our bodies are pulled in different directions. And the shame of this lifetime is something we need to heal and break through. But you said that you really believe in living unlimited, embodied, beauty-filled, soul-led. And all of those things are how I live my life. So it's just such an alignment to be in your energy, because I'm like, yes, but you're doing it, you're being it, you're teaching it, and you have for over a decade.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's really interesting, this conversation of the more and around the feminine dynamic, and that place that you were talking about in the beginning that we've often been taught, like, isn't it enough? Like, don't you have enough? And when we start to grow, and we start to evolve, and we start to allow higher levels of luxury in our life, we start to feel that ourselves, like, oh my gosh, I'm experiencing things I never thought I could. The level of wealth, the level of luxury, the level of beauty, the level of permission, the level of impact and influence. And then I feel like again and again, get to go inside. And this is where the idea of carte blanche and saying your sacred we comes in again and again, is to really be very discerning about where the next desire is coming from. Because there is that part of us that goes into ego that's like, oh, I just have to, make more money, do this thing, have more, because I'll be more valuable if I do. Versus this gorgeous level of permission. It's like, because I'm called. And that's when I know, like, okay, where am I getting real beautiful clarity and organic growth on the more? It's natural. It's because I'm called. It's, is it ever enough for you? No.
Yeah, no. It won't be. It won't be.
No.
When you die.
I will not be here. Yeah, exactly. Or I will not be here anymore. and then I'll come back and it'll be the next evolution of the more.
Yep. I have a question for you, because I personally, my journey was a little bit messy stepping into my femininity. I always knew it was there, but were you born this way? Like, were you born like, I love beauty, I am beauty? I mean, I'm looking at you right now and you look like a goddess. And like, was this a journey, or did you just always kind of know that you belonged in this sort of elegant, elevated, feminine leadership role?
Wow. I love this question. I love this question. I think I was born this way. I think it took a while to admit it and to remember it. And I do think those of us that are what we call inside of Elegant Femme, natural essence Frenchies. So what we teach inside of Elegant Femme are the indie, the Frenchie, and the New Yorker. And we all have all three, but we have one that's a power femme. It's our lead femme. And when we embody that is when everything in our life changes. So I would say, yes, I'm a natural essence Frenchie, is that I was from a young age, so connected to beauty, so drawn to beautiful things, so just innately, like it was healing for me. It was air for me. Like I can remember really little at a Christmas party running around showing everybody the ruffles on the back of my tights, like so proud of like, look at this, is amazing. But then the reflection from society, from people who loved me very, very much of, that's not okay.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? Put your dress down. Like, stop. You know, going into a store and my mom saying, pick out anything you want, and me unintentionally picking out the most expensive thing because I was so drawn to quality.
Yes.
And hearing, well, of course you would pick out the most expensive thing, and interpreting it as there was something wrong, that I maybe shouldn't embrace that side of myself so much. So I actually started to dim it. You know, I started to feel like it looks to me on the outside that society is valuing spirituality or hard work or money more. So maybe I have to change who I am. Maybe I'm wrong for feeling this part of me is so valuable. And so it was messy for me at times too, you know, just the interpretation of, is it okay for me to embody and embrace this the way that I'm called? And I would say that, you know, my biggest discerning moment was the loss of my firstborn son, Mason. And that catapulted me into a state of healing across the board, where I really, and still, I think all of us get to choose every single day, how are we going to show up, is really looking at, who am I? Why am I here? What am I really called to enjoy and experience in the world? And can I honor that?
Yeah. And I get a little emotional hearing, because I do know your story, but hearing you say it, it's just, my heart is with you, and I know Mason is with you as well. And
You know,
your story is, it's who you are. And you can tell that you just wear that armor and that softness. Like, you haven't let it harden you, but it's strengthened you.
Yeah, because it's like, we all have our story, and it's not about, and we all have many stories, right? We all have those discerning moments that break us open, where we do get to choose. And it's not about overly attaching to the story as a place of a victim, or it's a place of honoring what has gifted us the opportunity to embrace who we are now.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, this is, you know, my definition of beauty, and you probably know this too, is that I've shared many times. When I heard that John Keats quote, that beauty equals truth and truth equals beauty, that is all ye on earth need to know. To me, this is the real essence of beauty. It's truth. Mm-hmm. So with everything I've gone through with Mason, it was, yes, the biggest, please God, nothing else, you know, it's like the deepest tragedy I think a mother can experience, and also the most beautiful thing, because it brought me to a level of truth inside of myself that I sense I would have never been able to experience without him. Mm-hmm. And without that was the birthing of Elegant Femme. You know, that was the femme types, that was the healing, that was this integration that I know you stand for too, of the physical and the spiritual, that it wasn't one or the other. It wasn't, I'm going to live in, and everybody gets to experience their beautiful soul life however they want. You can live in an ashram and like a Prada bag. You can speak with spirit and have a glass of champagne. This isn't a one or the other, a this or a that. To me, everything is spiritual. Everything.
Yeah, your spirit first, body second. And I always say duality as a daily practice, and holding both is when I believe that we are our most healthy. And so I do believe in, the masculine's really done a great job. Like, we have figured it out. We are here. We are on planet Earth. We've built amazing things. And now it's the feminine energy is called to do that on the other side of the fence, in the background, on the energetics, in the heart. And as that happens, we are going to neutralize a lot. But as I always say, men and women misuse the masculine. Men and women are going to misuse the feminine. And just to be aware of those shadow sides and what comes up. The feminine energy, when it comes to luxury, desiring more, slowing down, opening all your senses, is my happy place. Like, that's where I feel the most alive, the most creative, the most myself. And I do still feel judgment for it. And, I just turned 39 on July 2nd, and I decided to throw myself a princess tea party brunch.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
It was like, I went over the top. Like, it was like a wedding. And I did it because I love it. I love it. And I invited people, all women that I love and are dear to my heart, because I have been through a lot in my life. And when you really look backwards, a lot of the people that know the whole story are your friends, and they've kind of weathered the storm with you. And I wanted to celebrate, my birthday, but nothing is beautiful and wonderful unless it's not shared with the ones you love. And so I love to give and I love to spoil, but I'll tell you, with my sensitivities, not everybody at that party was receiving it the way that I intended it to be received, because it was over the top. But was I going to let that affect me? No. Did I say a prayer on my own time? Yes, because there's healing that needs to be done around that when you have judgment around people that know how to accept, receive, spoil themselves, welcome luxury into their lives. Have you ran into that as well?
Well, I think for sure. I mean, especially when we do have this natural connection with gifting. Like, I've changed the word in Elegant Femme of giving to gifting. I always say gifting, because for me, the old dynamic of giving can carry, it doesn't have to, but can carry with it a burden energy that I think, from a feminine perspective, so many of us were raised with this martyr mentality of, I have to give, and then finally it will be my turn, which we know never happens.
Yeah.
So the energy and the intention of gifting and the vibration and frequency that it rides on is so important. And that I know when I'm in that energy, I have to ask myself, am I really gifting? Because if I'm really, really gifting, I don't expect anything in return. It's for me. It's for me, right? This party, this, that, this trip to Paris, right?
Yes.
It's for me. Yes, I'm gifting it to my entire family and my son's girlfriend, and it was the height of luxury, but it was for me. And that's a way I can detach from that sticky little, what we call the faux Frenchie, which is but are you going to receive it the way I want to? And are you going to see it the way that I want to? And are you going to appreciate it the way that I pour it all into it? Because we know we can't attach to that. And it also then limits our ability to receive if we're dependent on, are the people that we're gifting to receiving it the way that we would like them to, or are they judging us?
Yes.
Right. It's just going to limit our capacity to receive.
Yeah, no, I could not agree with that more. And I think I am at a place in my life where it's like, I will always be giving and gifting. It's how I breathe. It will never go away. It's like I pulsate through life that way. And so through that, and you probably too, you create a very open space for receiving. And so when you're always pushing out, there's space for things to come in. And that's like part of the way that I always teach manifesting. And receiving has almost like what you were just saying. On the other side of that, I've ran into working with clients that receiving comes with baggage as well, as in like, oh, I think that they'll want me to act this way, or, like the other side of the coin. And that's interesting because that goes
100%.
back to like inner child work, or how your parents being like, go hug Uncle Larry, or, you go write your
Right?
thank you letters, and it's this
Yeah.
obligatory, you have to behave XYZ if you receive. And really
Mhm.
all the rules need to go in the trash.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. You bring up something here that I think is a really delicate frequency for women around gifting and receiving, especially those of us that we feed off of it. Like you said, you pulsate. Like we cannot move through life without gifting it, right? It's a love language really
Yeah.
for us. If
Yeah.
we look at the 5 love languages, it enhances our experience of life when we're able to do that. And what I've needed to watch with my clients, and really it happens at every single level. It happens at, again, like 6 figures, multiple 6 figures, 7 figures, multiple 7 figures. I've had to revisit this, is it can be, if it's not clean, there can be an energy of entitlement that
Yeah.
we unintentionally create. And this is something that, whoa, this energy, right? It's the energy of me gifting versus the energy of someone expecting something from me. This is not the same. This does not go over well.
No.
So really creating gorgeous boundaries around that gifting and around that receiving, to really make sure the energy is really clean, and to be able to have the strength and the courage that, because, and although we want to gift so much, where is it coming from? And have we unintentionally created an energy where then our clients are feeling
Yeah.
entitled?
And everything
That's
is
a big
energy.
conversation.
Everything is energy. And so this, I mean, for you guys listening, I just want you to remember what Tara said is so relevant in every area of your life. She was referring a little bit to business, but even your friendships, like when you start to have people around you that are entitled to experience something specific when you hang out with them or on a holiday, but you don't feel energetically that they are coming to the table, there may need to be a change. And it's because you've got to a place where you're energetically ready to level up. And I hate that language because we're not like in Mario Kart or Mario Brothers, but it's like, like it's the mama boys. I'm always going to have these references. But that's what the hardest thing about evolution, self-evolution, growth in your business is your relationships. You might lose some relationships because it's not an energy match. Not saying that it won't be in the future. It's not goodbye forever, but energy changes, and you need to be around people that inspire you and that will rise you up, or that's at least the same level as you.
It's absolutely necessary if you're going to continue to live life like we talk about, awake, engaged. Beauty and truth can't exist when we get to that point of limitation and scarcity. And I think what's so powerful and what we're seeing more and more of is that you don't just have this conversation with yourself once.
No.
You have it again and again and again. And when you get to a point in your life, which happens to all of us, it certainly has happened to me many, many times, where we feel like, I don't know if I can do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Because it should feel easier this time. I've had boundaries. I've up-leveled wealth. I've up-leveled my client. I've up-leveled my business. I've up-leveled my friendships, our relationships at our home, our this, our wealth. But if you're wanting to go to the next level, you've got to revisit all of it. Everything has to go on the table again. Everything.
It's
and
never
that can
over.
feel so scary to our identity. We're like, oh,
yeah.
And it's okay if we want to pause and hang out there for a little bit. I need a breath. I'm not fully ready. But when we are, I always tell my clients, if you're feeling stagnant, if you're feeling trapped, if you're feeling like you've plateaued, it's because there's a piece of you that's withholding from having the depth of conversation around where you are with your, we say indie Frenchy New Yorker, and what you're really being called into next.
Yeah. And that pause is, I actually feel like I'm in a pause. Like I always say a plateau, like, there's this like long plateau period. And then all of a sudden, you will grow or level up, or however you want to put it. But I do feel like I'm in that, and it's the most uncomfortable stage to be in, because you don't want to go backwards. Nothing has quite come into fruition. But when you start to have faith in your own evolution, and I always joke that I am addicted to my own evolution because I know it works. I believe in growth. I believe in healing. I believe in dreams coming true. I believe in quantum leaps. But it doesn't take away from the uncomfortability or the awkwardness or the deep loneliness you feel when you're in that in between.
It's so true. And it can be really painful. Like for
Yeah.
us to be so transparent and honest, you know, both of us represent, you know, a level of elegance and beauty and ease and luxury. And it's not, that's also not to turn a blind eye to that intense feeling that when we're in that space
The
of
grit.
the grit, the evolution of that, you know, so I
Mhm.
want everyone to know that that's okay too. You know, I
Yeah.
think sometimes we look at quote unquote successful women and we're like, oh, this she just arrived there. She's like planted on the top of a wedding cake. Ah, and we don't really feel, and so we can judge ourselves, right? Like, why am I feeling this intense amount of pain and frustration and self-doubt?
Yeah.
And to me, this is really a part of a beautiful soul-led life. It's a necessary part. It's an authentic part. It's a place where we get to love ourselves even more, you know, and like you said, you can't go back. So once we enter into that space of real authentic conversation, for me, I also won't go forward until I know it's aligned.
Yeah.
I won't go back and I won't pretend. So sometimes it's like, I'm really choosing, I have to sit here. I have to sit
Yeah.
here until it's fully congruent, because anything less is not going to fly.
And that's where I get a lot of my information and healing for usually the clients that then come. So it's like waves with me. And I've seen you do your prayers, and I've witnessed you work. And so I do believe you channel. I do believe that you work with the same energetics, and that your language might be a little bit different. But it seems that when I get hit by storm, and I am a double water sign with a Leo rising, which explains the red lipstick and the fanciness, but the double water means like I get hit hard with emotions. Like even this full moon coming, like I'm really moving through stuff. But as I integrate it, I know that probably in a week, my whole schedule will be booked and clients will be flooding in, and I will recognize like bam, bam, bam. It's almost like we're the foot soldiers for the spirit world to like integrate this, because then you can help and serve and be there for people that are struggling and don't maybe have as much patience as you do, and don't weather it as well because they haven't learned to just surrender to universe. And we still have so many people addicted to the fast fixes, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love talking to you. This is so great. Okay, I want to like spin it a little bit and get on a little happier note, because I feel like we're getting heavy in like the dark stuff. But when it comes to like you're so beautiful all the time. You show up so beautiful, and like you take it very seriously. And I feel like I a little bit do too. And you can get a reputation of like perfectionism. And I just want to talk a little bit on that, because it bugs me. Because why would people think that if someone wants to present themselves in a way that will be perceived as maybe professional or like whatever, why is there a negative spin on that? Like, what do you have to add to people that may judge people that aren't crying and sobbing on their social media and saying, I'm just like you, I cry? Like,
Yeah. This is I love this. I go all of it, the scale of all of it. If you do look at my social media, you will find all of it. You will find me crying when my IVFs didn't work. You will find me like really in a deep post when I had my miscarriage. You'll find like, and here I am at the Eiffel Tower in my lingerie. Like, to me, it's the experience of the all. I know that's what I stand for. I know that's what I embody. I know for me, that's what I require for my own growth and evolution to allow. I also know that no matter which of those of the scale I'm on, someone is going to have something to say about it.
yes. Yeah.
Regardless of where it is and what I'm embodying, someone is going to say, I shouldn't be, I should be, I could be, I would be, something. If we look at it just from the beauty context, and really just external beauty, like showing up in a way that feels good, feels congruent. You know, I have a memory of someone, and she's actually pretty big in the online space and we're quite close. And she would say to me, oh, you're coming over for lunch, or I'm meeting you. I have to do myself up. I have to fix myself. I have to. And at first I was like, oh gosh, does she feel bad? oh, like she has to do something. And so I asked her, is that what you're feeling? Are you feeling some sort of pressure from me to show up in a way? And she said, no, I'm inspired.
Yeah.
The way you show up in the world gives me permission to up level my game. So some women are going to feel inspired, like, oh, there's a side of me that I'm being called to experience. I see her doing it. So that would be amazing. Some women are afraid to experience that in themselves. They're afraid to value it. They don't give themselves permission. They're afraid that they're going to be seen as materialistic, high maintenance, whatever. So then they're going to react that way. To me, it's this a complete unraveling of everything you and I teach and share. It's where are you connected inside of your own feminine? What does it look like for you? How are you being called to embody it? Some days I will show up on my group calls. This last week, I was in my robe. That's what I was. It was still beautiful and sensual for me. Some days I show up without any makeup.
Yeah.
To me, it's not me showing up in my beauty looks this way. It's, Tara, what does showing up in my beauty look like today? And how can I fully embody that? So to me, the only perfection in that is really authenticity.
I love
Does
your
that
answer.
Like we kind of took like a little bit
No,
of a
I
different
love it. I
turn,
love that you just shared, like, that's your perspective and that's your story. And I just love it because I think people are getting to know you through that. And I too have people that, even when I do these interviews, people are like, oh, I found my pretty glass, or I wore lipstick for you. And there was a time in my life where I was intimidated by that. Like, do I make people feel uncomfortable? And the answer is probably some of them, but that's okay because I'm not doing it with a motive. I'm doing it. I get ready for me. I like, my husband does not like lipstick. I wear it all the freaking time because I freaking like it,
For you.
And it's not that he like hates it, but he once told me like he prefers me with no makeup on. I mean, I think a lot of guys, but that's just more truth to me wanting to play dress up and like, let's get pretty together. I run my social media a little bit differently. And I think it's probably because my, I'm a Pisces moon and damn, do I get dark. And so I've been certified in inner child work and I know about re-traumatizing through telling stories that are traumatizing. And so sometimes my own personal journey isn't worth the sharing in it because it could really take people down. Like I have that power to take people down in the depths. And so I'm very private. I'm a Cancer, I go in my shell. I'm a Pisces, I go to the depths of the sea and I hide out. And I think people that know me expect that because I'm transparent about that. I'm inconsistent when I'm going through a dark time, but I'm going to come to the table to tell you what I experienced and the tools that helped me and help you navigate to get out of those places if you too experience it. So I think it's just, like you said, authentic, and everybody has their different spin. We're also multifaceted. There's no script. I really think just in social media in general, a lot of people get triggered by what they perceive as perfectionism. And I think that maybe perfectionism is an inside job. So if you were thinking somebody's perfect, then maybe that's time to look in the mirror of where do you struggle with this instead of projecting it, especially labeling it with aesthetics. Because it's like, there's always been beauty in the world. And you're not offended by a gorgeous church in Paris. Why would you be offended by a woman putting herself together or an expensive bag? Like, it's all the same frequency. I just get so excited about this topic.
What's that?
I get so excited about these topics.
No, I love it. I think too, it's like one of the first programs I ran, I had 6 people in it. It was like 2008 called You're Perfect. And the whole intention of it was really, you are already perfect. And the exploration of that. I think the word perfect in general can be so loaded. I think we have to define what that is for ourselves, because the external projection is like, oh, then that means you're some static restoration hardware image. Like this is, You know, there's no food on the counter. There's no, I mean, this isn't life. This is why we inside of Elegant Femme, it's more living fully.
Yep.
To me, the expression of all of that, like, oh, that feels so much better than anything perfect. Perfect in a moment. There can be a perfect ideal moment, but again, it's static. You know, no, life isn't static, and none of us are perfect. We're all growing, we're all evolving, you know, it's so, and we're all perfect, right? At the same time.
Yes,
You
yeah.
know,
And that's why I say it's an
that
inside job.
beautiful.
It's an inside job because it's yours. So like I do have a version of my perfect, but my perfect also is mine, and it's ever changing. What is perfect for me in this moment is very different than what is going to be perfect for me in 2 weeks, because I'm evolving, I'm changing the freaking moon.
Like, this is what I love. This is what I love. This is the permission of it. Right? This constant flow of what's in alignment with me at this particular moment in time.
Yeah.
When it comes to my business, when it comes to where I'm putting my energy units, when it comes to how I'm showing up in the world, like, can we please just gift ourselves permission to explore and experience that?
And to change our mind.
Yes, change our minds. Yes, of course. And let go of that old dynamic of, oh, if you change your mind, you're going to be out of integrity. You're going to be seen as, right, all of these old judgments of the feminine. You're going to be seen as weak, flaky. Like, no, there is an empowered space inside. Crazy. That's a good one. You know, there's this empowered space inside of, okay, this is what's true for me. Yeah. And honoring that, to me, is one of the most beautiful things that we can do for ourselves and for each other. For each other. Like, I had a call today. We're doing our Live You Fully program right now. And tomorrow we're supposed to have our last call. And it's the only sunny day here. And my parents are leaving on Friday, and they're like, we're having a boat day. We're having a boat day. So today I was like, girls, tomorrow's an integration day. And here's why. We're going out on the boat. So for you, you can integrate your own Frenchie, Indie, New Yorker. And it's this old fear of like, oh my gosh, I'm going to change the day of a program.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. It's in the highest alignment. The program's living fully.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm not going to be living fully during the program, then, you know, and it's not about not caring and just changing things consistently. It's about an intentional what's in support of the highest good.
Yeah. And not being shameful to live your life. I mean, you know, whether you take pictures or not, I've taken pictures since forever. Like, remember the long skinny cameras? Like, had the, you know, like all my allowance money went to developing pictures. And then I had walls with pictures. So my wallpaper was pictures. I've been obsessed with pictures, and then social media came along. I'm going to post pictures. I like taking pictures. And sometimes in this moment that I'm living in right now, I still will have that little creepy voice that's like, you shouldn't post that. That's too much. And it's like, I want to say the F word, like, what the F? You know, like, why do I still feel like there's someone out there, which there is, criticizing me for how far I've come, which it's been a long road. And like I said, I don't post the messiness. I don't post the hard stuff. I just keep posting the evolution. And that's probably why people are drawn to me, especially people that have been in my life for so long. It's because they're like, what is she doing? Well, it's something. It's something, and it's working, but I still struggle with that. And that inner voice, I don't know if it ever fully dies. I think we get stronger.
I think that that's true. And I also think that there's an opportunity to integrate that voice when it comes up for us, when we feel that this is too much. What's somebody else going to think? We know, you know, I know that ultimately there's a place inside that's judging ourselves for that next evolution and growth. So I think if we can just pause in that moment as leaders and say, actually, what's that really about? Where inside of me am I afraid that it's too much? And can I integrate that voice, allow it to become a point of power for me, and not just do it unintentionally, like really, like, okay, why do I feel like this is too much? What is that judgment inside of me? What is my real intention? What do I want to honor? What is the next identity that I'm stepping into? And then posting the picture with like, hell yeah.
Yes.
Hell yeah. Like that, I think.
And always with the energy that you are all invited. That is my whole mission, you know, before many years ago, I don't know how many years ago, 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I don't know. I'm bad with time. I'm dyslexic and I'm bad with time, like somewhere back then. I started a women's cocktail golf league because I wanted to get more women into the golf industry. Like it wasn't, there was like, you're a pro golfer or you're 65 and on a ladies league. There wasn't this base. And so I created it, and Callaway sponsored it. All of a sudden I'm going like to different cities. Like it really, really launched into something because my vision was just like, boom. And then all of a sudden I'm playing Pebble Beach and going to Ireland and people were like, what the hell? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I just had this idea and I, you know, I didn't see why it wouldn't work. And I believed it would. And like, it just was so effortless. And then I just outgrew it, and that's it. It's fine. It was a beautiful story, and it's still going in some places. And it was a chapter in my life, but that's when everything turned for me. It's like, I can manifest anything. Like there's people that would love to play Pebble Beach. And I just like walked on and like had an event there, and like, it was just nuts. And so I think that when it comes down to really believing in what is possible, anything is, it's infinite. And if it's in your mind, it's already there. It's already right here. It's really like time isn't real. And so you just have to allow it in. And we block ourselves. Our minds.
100%. And that key is really what you were talking about, you know, the riding on desire energy, just giving ourselves permission to ride on the frequency of desire. This is what opens and unlocks Pebble Beach. Like, why not? Why not? We say, you know, in French, it's tout est possible, which means anything is possible. We actually have t-shirts inside of Elegant Femme that say tout est possible. They sell out every single time. Anything is possible. It's just that energy, like, yeah, of course. If I desire it, why not? The what if, the why not, the can we play there? Can we play there? And this is what more and more women, I feel like, are plugging into and allowing themselves to consider, can we move out of that? I have to, I'm supposed to, I should. My value and my self-worth are attached to what I do and how much I make and how much I accomplish during a day, like that addiction to the to-do list, into, hold on a second. Where am I residing inside of myself? How am I prioritizing my pleasure, what it is I enjoy? And then from there, what is the experience that's calling me? Like, this is why the indie Frenchie New Yorker just open up this alignment of like, oh, let's allow the true, organic, authentic prioritization of activation of energy to be congruent instead of the how, the should, the supposed to, the attachment.
And the roles that we have, I feel like a lot of times when we could, as you're talking, I'm feeling women that are like, well, I could do all that if I wasn't a mom, or if I didn't have this, this, and this. And this is when those deep rooted, like ancestral codependency ties come bubbling up, where you have to like I always think of Archangel Michael, like get out a sword and cut the cords, all of them, like all of the energetic cords from all over this family, past lives, because really you're tied to nothing. It's you and you have a body. What are you going to do with it?
100%. And it's also gorgeous when those distractions is really what they are, when they come up, when we think about our vision and we're like, oh, I can't because I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a this, I'm a that. And then we begin to think, okay, what's really, really true? How can being a this and a that really support me? So that like that distance of I used to think I can't be a successful entrepreneur and be a good mom. Like I started Elegant Femme when Dom and Nico were 4 and 6 years old. Now they're about, 19 and 16, ready to go to college. And instead of that extreme of I can't be an amazing entrepreneur and a good mom, it was how can being a good mom support me in being an extraordinary entrepreneur? And how can being an extraordinary entrepreneur support me in being an amazing mom? So we start to feel those competing energies come into a space of integration and create an intention of how can the exact thing that I'm thinking takes me away be a part of the solution, and just really allow that to be a point of power instead of a point of distraction.
That's a beautiful piece of advice. I recommend everybody to do the backwards 30 seconds and listen to that again. That was great.
To write it out. Like, what is that?
Yeah, it is. I think that would be a good body.
So good. It's so good.
You could do like 4 pages of journaling on that, because
Yeah.
if we are multifaceted, we're not, and we can
100%.
wear many hats, and this comes with kind of a double-edged sword, because I always tell people, like, women especially, it's like, stop trying to wear every hat, because I think they're trying to wear too many masculine hats right now. So it's like, I can be the best mom and the best wife and the best this, and then I can also make 50 million a month, and then or not 50 million, 50,000, whatever it is.
Why
50
not?
million.
Yeah.
I'm not going to cap it.
50 million, do 50 million.
But so it's like, see where you're lacking. And I can tell a lot of women right now are lacking in the feminine. They've really thought, I'm going to take back control by becoming more masculine. And that's not how we take back control. We come back from unapologetically being more feminine, and then things start to get clear. Not saying that our masculine energy is going to go away. Our masculine energy is great. Just think of it like as the mind, to simplify it, but getting into your heart center. What do you like in the notebook? What do you want? What do you want? Like, what do you want? Like, do you even know? I was way into my like late 20s when I'm like, I don't even know what I like. I don't even know what I want. Like, I had to like figure it out. And then I had to do it again. Like, life changes. You don't
100%.
figure it out now and then just know.
That's really important, I think, for us to emphasize. You don't just have that conversation once. Just the same with boundaries and up-leveling your wealth. If you're at a space in your life and you're listening to this and you're saying, gosh, I used to know what I want, but I don't anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Or I knew what I wanted and I got it. And now I'm like, we see this at every income level too, 6 figures, multiple, 7 plus. It's like, oh, I have what I asked for.
Yeah.
What is that next evolution of desire? What is that next evolution of the truth of who you are? What is really potent? And it's so easy when we have received what it is we wanted and dreamt of for so long. It's so easy to then get into that plateau of like, oh my gosh, I wanted this, now I have it. And, that old fear or guilt of, why isn't this enough? This is what I always wanted.
Or am I greedy? Or am I a narcissist? Have you ever went down that hill? Like,
not narcissist, but greedy for sure. Like, same what we were talking about earlier. Like, what is wrong with me? Why do I want more? Isn't this enough? No, it's not.
I've worked with so many people on those things, like those titles that we give ourselves. Like, am I, whatever label that you find, you're like, oh my gosh.
Was one of mine.
Yes.
Selfish. Yeah.
And narcissist, I think, really comes up for people that never knew how to self-care. They never, like children that have gone through a lot of adversities, or, had alcoholism, or emotionally absent parents. They grew up knowing that they were safe if they took care of someone else. And so to take care of themselves is foreign. And then it creeps in this thought of like, am I narcissistic if I think of myself first? It's just, that's how bad it feels, because you feel like I'm abandoning everything that I was taught to care about first. And it's a really, really sad time, because it's a constant conversation, sometimes even throughout the day, to retrain your nervous system and your body that you must take care of yourself first. You are not going to be the best mom, best wife, best version of yourself, best business owner if you don't learn how to do that.
Yeah, absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
And really, and if you don't, then you're leaving it for someone else to do, and you're recreating the cycle that you're trying to get out of.
I'll give to you and then hope somebody gives to me.
Yes, like that, like exactly. Yep. When will it be my turn?
Yes.
That's sacrificial
mentality. I drew some cards right before our call. I really love this Oracle of the Roses. I've worked with it quite frequently. I thought it was appropriate for us. And I just want you guys listening. This spread that I did is about, it's a 3-card spread. And all it is if you want to embody more of what this conversation is, more feminine, more elegant, more luxury, more energy that supports you and like your heart's essence, everything that you desire, then the first card is going to represent what you need to release. The second is what you need to keep. And then the last card is what you need to
hold on,
embody.
Jen. I'm writing this down with everybody. Okay.
So, and I'm just going to kind of wing it. I have a really great relationship with these cards, so I don't really go to the book much. I just kind of channel in to see what
trust
comes
it.
So what you need to release is the architect. And I've actually pulled this card before. It is associated with Virgo. And this is all about structure, and it can be limitations. And so it's really a great card, but it's very masculine, and it is about order and planning. And so this is something, if you want to get more into the feminine and welcome more luxury into your life, that get out of the mind, allow the planning to be released, and just focus on the want, the desire, not the how. Envision yourself already in a place of receiving. And the architect energy is the universe. Surrender that our creator will be the architect. You don't need to worry. It's coming.
Oh, I love that. And would you say, Jen, that in that card, you're also creating space by moving out of the planning?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Huge space. Yeah. Yes. You're retreating. And by retreating, you're allowing more space. You're not zoned into a blueprint or so focused on one building. You zoom out and you have the scape of the city, and then the state, and then the country. More possibilities can come to you if you zoom out. The context needs to get way bigger. And then I do love this. This made me giggle because this card comes up a lot for me. So what you need to keep is the child. So of course we need to keep the inner child, which represents awe, playfulness, creativity. When a child plays, nothing is going to bound them. They are limitless in their creativity, and they'll make forts, and dragons are coming after them. And it's just so fun to play with children. We still have that in us. And on the other side of imagination is manifestation. And so if you allow yourself to freely imagine, you're flirting with manifestation already. So keep the child, connect with the child. What did you want to be when you were younger? If you had a dream day at the age of 8, what would you do? Anything that you wanted. How would your day look? Well, take that energy and give it to yourself today.
I love that. I love that so much. And I also, when we're watching children play, it's how they learn. It's how we learn. So those of us that are so committed to evolution and growth, but focus so much on how do I process this thing? What's wrong? So I can get out of it. That inner child, that play, how many of us, when we're on a walk or when we're laying at the beach, we're like, oh,
yeah.
That's what it is. That's the answer. That's the thing. No, so I love this. I
feel like our children are older than us. So I feel like we have an agreement. We're a soul family. And I came in here and the human, it was like, I'm going to be older and teach you how to do the human, and you're going to be older and teach me how to do the spirit. And so they bring forth lessons and trials to help navigate us on a spiritual evolution. And then we do in the return in the physical and the human. And so it's always this dance.
I love that so much.
And then, of course, what the lesson to be learned when you want to embody more feminine, more luxury into your life is the artist. And I can't say I've looked at every card in this deck, but I'm pretty familiar, and I don't think a better card came for this topic. And if you think of the artistry thousands and thousands of years ago and the architecture in Europe, and you see how much pride they put in everything and how we've been kind of stripped of that in modern building, that artistry is something that is still so in us. We need to create. We need to visually appreciate the creations, whether it be a sunset or a building or a glass of champagne or a woman or man putting themselves together. I will not hang up when I see a beautiful man. I will say, you look beautiful. And that man probably knows it and is going to say, thank you. And so don't always think it's about the feminine, because it can be the masculine as well. but the artist sees everything and they find the beauty in it. And so this is the lesson. The lesson is to widen your perspective, open up all of your senses. So really, when the architecture is about zooming out and getting into the child, what do you taste? What do you feel? What do you smell? What do you see? And when you get in that, that is feminine energy. Feminine energy wants it all. They want to feel it. They want to taste it. They want to smell it. They want the beautiful candle, the roses, that they want all of that and more.
And more and more and more.
And more.
I love to
that's
emphasize,
okay.
Walking through Paris and being able to look at the Louvre next to the Jardin Tuileries and know that someone spent their entire lifetime creating that beauty. And today, being able to go to patisserie or boulangerie, and there'll be a line out the door, and the person at the front will be wrapping the pastry as if it's the only pastry in the entire world. This appreciation for the artistry, for the reflection, and allowing that external essence of beauty to impact us internally. Yes. I think it's gorgeous that this one came up at the end. So
yes, cool. I do too. And when you do allow yourself to create and get in that artistry mindset, do know that is when you have access to channel wisdom. And so when you are doodling or drawing, it doesn't have to be something to sell. We're not creating to sell. We're creating to express, to release energy. And so, yes, we can see the beauty, but don't take this as I need to create beauty. No, the artist, everything isn't always beautiful. The artist is about expression and getting it out. And the beauty is about the relationship between you and spirit, and then what comes through you, what moves through you. And right now, if you're not open to beauty and you start to get into this artist energy, you might be mad and your paintings might be crazy, or you might be scribbling. This is all excellent because you're moving energy. You're moving something out of you. And then in 10 years, you might look at that and it could be some beautiful piece of art that you never thought you'd like because you remember the anger and how much you've grown. So don't underestimate the power of artistry or put it in a box of beauty. Just know that when you get into the child state, when you allow yourself to create, you are closer to your own spirit. Channeling does happen in that space. Would you agree?
I would. And I think the one nuance for me in my definition of beauty is that beauty is truth. So yeah, it's not about a limited putting it in a box of beauty. It is already beauty because it's an expression of truth. And for me, really taking away any kind of confines around the expression or definition of what beauty really is.
It's so true. Look at us just dancing away. We're like, yay! and then,
and cheers. And
oh my gosh. So I really could just keep talking to you, but I feel like we better bring it to a close. You guys, Tara is amazing. I can't recommend her enough. I'm going to let her give you her Instagram handle and her website. And she does have a free program that we mentioned earlier on. Highly recommend. And then if you don't mind, I'd love for you to mention the program I signed up for that's in September, because I have a feeling that's going to be a really good one.
It's going to be amazing. Okay. All the things. So you can find me on Instagram at Elegant Femme 1. In Facebook, that's Elegant Femme. So you can find us on social media there. The free masterclass that I have that you're referring to is called Carte Blanche. And we can put probably a link or something in the show notes, however you do it. It's elegantfemme.com/carte blanche. And that really is 5 days to support a woman in waking up and opening up to her fullness, to anything being possible, to writing a blank check. And I love, love, love it. It's so much fun to do that. And the program that you're talking about is called Ethereal. And that starts in September. And this is going to be unlike anything I've ever done before. It's actually a 4-month container. It's completely surrendering to the divine. It's utilizing the processes that we teach, the Indie, the Frenchie, and the New Yorker, from a completely feminine perspective to allow yourself to surrender to miracles. There are going to be, and we can send them elegantfemme.com/ethereal for all the details and logistics. But I would just say the essence of this is a full fall back, leaning back into life. So when we go into the last part of the year, September, October, November, December, there can be a kind of aggravation of our masculine energy of, here we are, last quarter of the year. How am I going to get it all in? How am I going to complete it? How am I going to reach my goals? So what we're going to do inside of that program is utilize the support of all of the femme types to, yes, clarify what it is you want to experience and desire before the end of the year. Lean back into a level of support that you've never allowed yourself so that you can receive it in a way that's completely congruent. And we're going to be expanding into that ethereal space of breath, of miracles, of divinity and feminine essence, unlike anything I've actually ever taught before. So if anyone's brand new to the femme types, they're going to learn all of that in there, but it really is going to be an experience of letting go and letting us receive. And really special support for me that I know you know about. That'll be on the logistics page. Private Voxer days, things like that will be in there.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
That's going to be gorgeous.
I signed up without knowing any of the info because
yes, you did.
And I love stuff like that because words have energy. And so words sometimes can actually get in the way. So that's how connected I am to vibrations. Is if you say something, I'm a generator, so I operate on my sacral, and so I'm a yes or a no, and it was a yes, and so more words require more response, if that makes sense. And so if you are like me, just know that you don't need the details. Sometimes I signed up for a spiritual retreat in Belize and went without knowing a damn thing. People thought I was crazy, and I went by myself. And it was because my sacral said yes. I didn't need to know more. And so when you're listening to that, just ask yourself, am I supposed to work with Tara? And if it's a yes, just sign up. Like you don't learn to trust your body. That's how we live a soul-led life, a spirit-led life. We're both teaching the same damn thing. And you do it by checking in here.
I love that you said that, because even the vibration of ethereal, of the timelessness inside of that, of gifting ourselves permission to extend above and beyond any physical limitations and into the sacred. Yes.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. I love that you did that. It's like, just feel it. Yeah. Feel it and trust yourself. And, we're there for you when and if you want to.
And if it's a no, no's don't become personal. We want you in alignment as much as you should want you in alignment. You know what I mean?
100%, 100%. And that's something I think that's really beautiful that we both ride on. It's really that deep level of trusting in your own intuition, your own alignment, your own expansive yes, and your own, clear no, like honoring that fully.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time.
Yes, it was beautiful. I love being here.
Such a great time to talk to you. You guys, I can't recommend her enough. Please find Tara's social media. I'll put all the links in the show notes. Have a beautiful weekend, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Cheers.